One of the very cool things about being a small-time YouTuber is you actually get to respond to individual viewer requests. I got a really cool suggestion from a viewer named Jackson Tan. He proposed we try out some Alphastar replays. Hey, Skynet likes to open with a low ground pylon. So to do this, we gotta go back to the summer of 2019. That's when the last official Alphastar replays were released. So once again, I'm gonna have to break my rule of current patch only, but I think this little experiment will be worth it. Just in case you've been under a rock, or maybe you have some kind of life where you don't actually know who Alphastar is, that's the code name for Google's DeepMind artificial intelligence machine learning project. Hatch first for our Zerg player. So let me introduce the ultimate in AI, Skynet. He's no beta planetoid, he's Alphastar!
Current world rank amazing.
I'm gonna call whatever rank the adjutant gives him to be biased. Here comes our extractor pool for our Zerg player. He's not looking to fool Alphastar with anything crazy. It's a standard opening so far. Alphastar's scouting probe's gonna get its first look at the Zerg main. And the AI has decided it's best to go Nexus before Core. Does Alphastar mimic human play? Or have both human and machine both independently determined this is an optimal opening? Our anonymous Zerg player happens to be an incredible ladies' man. He's known as a MasterPlayer.
Current world rank total joke.
So, MasterPlayer, of course, will be a master rank player even though he's anonymous. But despite his resume, he's going to be a significant underdog. Losing is not something that Alphastar does very often. Alphastar has played hundreds and hundreds of lifetimes of games, refining its strategies over and over. Core completes. Let's see Alphastar's tech choice. A chrono-boosted adept. No warp gate research. Meanwhile, we've got Ling speed for our Zerg players starting up. There's our tech choice. It's gonna be a Stargate. Still no warp gates. Interesting. You can actually produce units faster if you get them out manually from a gateway. It's just really cumbersome. So maybe for Alphastar, he just finds it superior. First adept is out on the map. Alphastar's making a second one behind it. He was very aggressive with his scouting probe. Maybe he'll be equally aggressive with his adept. Oh, bad luck for Master Zerg. His scouting ling's gonna cross paths with the adept. And the AI is gonna get the first blood. No, he's not. Alphastar just kinda gave up on it or prioritized something else. Zerg takes a third, and he's also gonna get a scout on that Stargate. That's quite useful. I see. Alphastar probably deduced that his second adept would be a more efficient way to deal with that Zergling. But he gave up the scout on his Stargate to do that. Master Zerg might have even been able to see an Oracle making in that just before he died. It's interesting to me that Alphastar starts his chrono boost before he starts making the unit. Drone snipe by that single adept. He's so precise. He's also killed a Ling. He's just so aggressive. 2 drones and a Ling, you'll take that for your adept. Master Zerg was completely ready for it, and it still happened. Adept number 2 is on the way, and the Oracle's out on the map. It's so aggressive, it's like an angry swarm of wasps. Okay, this one can't work, there's just too much defense there. He gets another drone, but he's gonna die for it. Humanity takes back the efficiency trophy there. Look who's adapting now, you silicone chip. So in 2019, an Oracle opening was really common. So again, I don't know for sure if this is something that Alphastar has learned that's effective, or if he's copied it off of the various master players he's faced. Maybe both, and he takes his third. As another example, Alphastar uses his cyber core to wall off his natural. That's something I always question, because it's so vulnerable to caustic bile, but every human pro does it. So is the fact that Alphastar does it as well proof that it's actually the best strat? It's just a trade-off you have to accept in order to have a proper wall? Oh, Queen's doing a great job at zoning out those oracles. And humanity has a Ling counterattack prepared for that third base. Master Zerg is gonna get that probe at least. Oh, we can see Alphastar's warping in units now. But he's just giving the Zerg stuff to snack on. Oh, the oracles have been recalled. A terrific move by Alphastar. So that reminds me, in case you don't know this, Alphastar plays under a series of handicaps. And one of those is his APM, his actions per minute, is locked so that it simulates a professional human. Alphastar's only allowed to give so many commands in a given minute, and only so many in a 10-second period and a 2-second period, etc., etc. It's to simulate human reaction time. Google doesn't just want Alphastar to be faster. Any fool computer can do that in 2019. Google wants him to be smarter and self-taught. So they put the handcuffs on him and make him think his way out of problems. And speaking of problems, there's a quadruple Oracle dive coming up. Remember, all the queens are out of position on the left-hand side of the map. There are double spores, though. Alphastar doesn't care. He kills the queens and trades oracles for drones. He gets 7 kills for 3 oracles. Very dramatic, very aggressive, but not a great bargain, really. Whoa! Master Zerg cancels his second Evo, and he adds a Nidus network. While I was yammering away, he finished lair tech. I like this. How much experience does Alphastar have against Nidus worms? What if he's only faced it a mere 1.7 billion times? He could be totally confused. Oh, that oracle's just kind of suiciding itself. He does manage to save it. Meanwhile, Alphastar's getting a robo +1 attack and zealot legs. Oh, the queens are clustered around that Nidus network. MasterPlayer's gonna try to poop creep on Alphastar. I love it. Ling's attempting a run by here. And Overseer's gonna give sight for a location to plant the worm. That looks like it's outside Alphastar's vision. And these Lings are having a lot of success against the Adepts. Oh yeah, Worm's gonna complete, baby. Bring out those queens. There's roaches coming to support. This is big. He could get the Stargate. He could get the Nexus. Go Team Primate and your evolved successors. MasterPlayer ain't monkeying around. And the surviving Lings are going after the third. Alphastar is going to shut down the attempt at a second worm. But his main is taking so much damage. He's going to kill the first worm. MasterPlayer is going to make another one. He needs an escape route. Otherwise, he's at risk of losing all his queens. There's a lot of stalkers out there, and the supporting roaches are just about gone. MasterPlayer got the Stargate. MasterPlayer got the Stargate and a couple of warp gates. Can he get the Nexus? Oh, Alphastar is changing tact. He's going to try to bust up his own ramp. He was trying to use the warp prism to get vision, and it just wasn't working for him. Great transfuses to keep those queens alive, and there is the escape. That was a big blow. MasterPlayer's still way behind on workers, though. He's got himself a bigger army, and he's got to like his position on tech now. Roach speed is almost done, and +1 ranged attack is on the way. Oh, Alphastar cleaned out the Overseer that was giving vision. But he doesn't seem to have an observer to clean up the creep tumors. And he wasn't using his Oracle's Revelation to do it either. He is picking up a robotics bay, though. MasterPlayer's going to reward himself for a successful attack by taking a 4th. He's also got a Hydra Den, and he's adding Hydra speed. No Hydras on the field just yet, though. It's a Roach army. Oh, ships passing in the night here. Both players using separate attack paths. MasterPlayer's going to try to support his attack by adding a Nidus worm behind it. He kills a lone immortal and gives himself access to the 3rd. Alphastar has to pull back to save his base. It costs him a robo. A terrific snipe for our Zerg player. Alphastar's stalkers bring down that worm. He's going to give chase to those roaches. They have that bonus against armored types, which is exactly what roaches are. Alphastar is going to rebuild his robo. Oh, MasterPlayer's working on a Lurker Den. And look who's back. The queens are back in town, but there is a big warp in this time. MasterPlayer tries to make a worm. I think he wanted to get his roaches in there. Alphastar is going to shut that nonsense right down. Queens have had to flee. But this is quite neat. MasterPlayer did not need an Overlord to put down that worm. He just used the creep tumors that were still there. He might be abusing a weakness on the part of Alphastar here. If he's not going to make any observers or use any detection, MasterPlayer can really go hog wild with the creep. It also means his choice of lurkers is a really good one. But going toe-to-toe with Stalker Immortal with Roach Queen is probably not the best. One of the reasons I wanted to pick a game where Alphastar was Protoss is because the AI's Stalker precision is legendary. It's just unnatural. It's just so optimized that most players really struggle against it in a straight-up fight. Oh, Hydras are here. That's going to really help out. I keep thinking that Alphastar has blink. He doesn't. That's all the warp prism doing all that work. He's only just researching blink now. Forget stalkers. I think that warp prism might be his MVP. Alphastar's catching up an army and he's got a worker lead of 20. I think as the game drags on, Alphastar's precision death ball is going to be harder and harder to deal with. He may have a cap on the number of actions he can take in a 10-second period, but they're all going to be near perfect. Though they can't be too perfect, he just ate a corrosive bile. There's that lurker den, it's complete. Alphastar is pulling back now. It's so weird to me that he's still got creep in his main base. Which means there's going to be another worm there. That might just be a way that MasterPlayer can keep himself in this game. Alphastar still has no vision in that corner. Oh, the AI is going to counter, and this time he's bringing a disruptor. I'm terrified to think about what he can do with that. Big time load by our Zerg player. I like this. If he can keep forcing Alphastar back. Oh, a recall. Oh, that is a great response by Alphastar. He still loses his Nexus, though. Score 1 for Team Bio. Look at that, Alphastar's leaving, but he's still got creep left in his base. It's like a permanent backdoor that MasterPlayer can use at will. And now he's adding Lurkers. This is either the best move or the worst move. If Lurkers trigger Alphastar to get detection, it's gonna backfire on our human player. Oh, big blink up! But I was gonna say if Alphastar doesn't get detection, then Lurkers will be extremely effective. Look at that, Alphastar is trying to rebuild his Nexus on top of the creep. There's a knowledge gap there of some kind. After the 4th or 5th worm in that corner there, a human player would stash a unit there. Because you just know he's going to keep doing it. Okay, I'm like sweating buckets here. I'm on pins and needles as to how these lurkers are going to work. Zerg is down over 30 supply. He can get crushed by this. Oh, he's planning a little Zergling run-by for a counterattack. 2 streams of stalkers headed for MasterPlayer's base. Can he trick the AI into turning around again? Oh, huge warp in. Alphastar's maxed. Oh, it's hold position lurkers. MasterPlayer waited to trigger that. It didn't quite work, but I love him for the attempt. Alphastar's supply is really dropping. The Ling run-by is doing a little bit of damage too. I do not see any observers in production. I think that's the critical stat here. Alphastar may be finishing +3, but he needs detection more. And look who's making a worm in his opponent's main base. If the Borg is not adapting, resistance may not be futile. Well, he is going to lose that 5th. And the Stalkers have Blink now. Time to see if the legendary Alphastar Blink Stalkers is true. Well, they don't seem to be able to dodge those Lurkers. Suddenly, MasterPlayer has the bigger army. Alphastar really likes his probes. You don't usually see 89 probes for the Protoss player. There you go, MasterPlayer. He's using his Lurkers offensively now. Probes are getting carved up. MasterPlayer's got to pull back to deal with this crisis. He does have an observer. The Borg have adapted. Maybe. Oddly, he's kind of fighting back with a cloaked unit of his own. There's a Dark Templar defending the main, and MasterPlayer doesn't have detection. This is like a crazy game. And like anyone was surprised that was going to happen. Oh, that DT is doing great damage to those Lurkers while they're not burrowed. MasterPlayer's attention was on his defense. Somehow he's got the advantage and he wants to press it. He's trying to spread out his Lurkers. Alphastar's picking them off before they can go invisible. This game's kind of broken down into the insanity that you get with a base race, even though there's never been a base race. Lurkers just killing random units with no one to stop them. With big warp-ins, Alphastar catches back up on supply. He's traveling with his lone observer. That's gonna let him go at the Lurkers. But MasterPlayer picks it off. A pair of overseers spot it and he kills it. Alphastar has to pull back before his army is shredded. Meanwhile, he's continuously bleeding at home. Alphastar's producing probes 4 at a time, but he's kind of losing 5 or 6 in that same period. Master Zerg is about to catch up on workers. That would be a first for the entire game. Alphastar looks a little bit discombobulated. He's making disruptors out of his lone robo when he really needs an observer. Well, in this case, he's got vision with that cannon, but that doesn't help him against the Lurker on the high ground. Alphastar has decided to charge. He doesn't have detection, though. He's just going to shrug off the hits and go for damage. We saw him do this with his Adept early in the game. He doesn't focus down the Nidus network though. He's going for the main. He blinks in. He's going for drones. He supply blocked the Zerg. And he gets the Hydra Den. That's one way to put a dent in the Lurkers. Player's in a bad spot here. But Alphastar's gonna recall out. We lost 10 supply doing that. I guess it suddenly realized he couldn't take the Lurker hits anymore. Alphastar is massively outmining MasterPlayer. MasterPlayer's pulling more gas. Oh god, there's 28 kills on that Lurker. It's been there like the whole game. This is so weird. MasterPlayer is down on so many benchmarks. But he is also totally in this. He is exploiting the AI. Will it be enough? He's remaking the Nidus Worm. Alphastar wants to stop him from remaking his 5th. I'm a little bit disappointed in Alphastar's disruptors, to be honest. I thought there would be superhuman precision with those things, but Alphastar kind of sucks at them like the rest of us. MasterPlayer makes 13 Lurkers. Like there's any other kind of unit he should be making. Maybe tunneling roaches and buried infestors, but mostly Lurkers. Alphastar gets supply blocked. He's stopped making anything. All his actions are prioritized on the attack. No, he started making pylons again. That Lurker's only got 7 kills, but he is controlling the mineral line. I like that MasterPlayer has a healthy supply of Overseers. If an observer shows up, he wants to be ready to hunt it. Both players are spending all their pennies trying to get unsupply blocked. 5 pylons for Alphastar. No, there's nothing there, buddy. Your opponents are in your base. Oh, Alphastar is definitely off his game here. He's researching observer speed, but he's not making an observer. His only robo's making more disruptors, and those aren't winning it for him. Alphastar's near max, so he's going to try to attack again, but he just can't attack into that. He does not know how to deal with the Lurkers. MasterPlayer's expanding. It may look good, but his economy's actually quite terrible compared to the AI's. What a strange game. 10 years from now, that Lurker might actually take down that Nexus. He keeps reprioritizing other targets as probes show up. Observer speed is about to complete. We'll see if that results in a change in strategy for Alphastar. MasterPlayer's definitely got his playbook together. He's luring him back to the Lurkers. Alphastar, though, has, to his credit, figured out what part of the map he can attack into. A recall to try to defend. Call me crazy, but I think MasterPlayer wants to find a way to increase the number of Lurkers in Alphastar's base. It's so weird. Alphastar is actually maxed out, and he's building a bank, but he's still taking heavy losses. The question is, can Alphastar win this with this heavy weight around his neck? Oh, that weight just got a lot bigger. Look at that. Lurker's now cutting off his bases. Alphastar can't stay there, so he's going to try to counterattack. The left side of MasterPlayer's base is Lurker Light. There's targets available. Look at the inefficiency on the resources lost. MasterPlayer's performing better to the tune of 7,000. When Zerg's ahead by that much in a human-human game, you pretty much anoint the Zerg player the winner. What? That disruptor shot just expired without exploding. A micro-air by the master of detail himself. No fate but what we make there, Skynet. Lurker's getting position over the production facilities. Note that Alphastar was never able to remake his Stargate, though Alphastar is often quite happy to just win with Stalkers. So I'm not sure I can read too much into his inability to tech up here. Once again, MasterPlayer is up on supply. Alphastar continues to dominate in the income department, though. Alphastar is massacring every visible unit that MasterPlayer has. He's just kind of struggling with the cloaked ones. Alphastar loses a Nexus. He is remaking a whole bunch of them, but he's putting them at expansion sites with cannons, which is going to get him detection. Meanwhile, his main has been rather hollowed out with creep. He's never really been able to get rid of that, but he's still making disruptors and probes. He's making probes 5 at a time, keeping that economy whirling. Oh, he's running over top of Lurkers. That's gonna hurt him. His efficiency does not improve when he does that. 21 Lurkers for MasterPlayer. Alphastar is gonna attempt some disruptor shots, but he can't seem to aim them. Disruptors can kill stealth units without detection. It takes 2 shots, though, and Alphastar has to figure out where they are. He does seem to be struggling with that. Can MasterPlayer actually close this out? He has a chance to become one of the few players to defeat Alphastar. A recall to escape the Lurker devastation. Oh no, he's headed over here to stop a worm. And now he's leaving. I'm not entirely sure what he's doing anymore. MasterPlayer's gotta be feeling the chance of victory here. He's trying to shut down the Protoss gates. No, he's targeting the robo. You gotta like that. In theory, the disruptors are one of his biggest threats right now. This top right-hand base for Alphastar has become critically important. He's gonna try to rebuild there. MasterPlayer's Lurker count has reached almost 30. It's really the only unit he has other than Queens. Not counting drones and overlords, of course. But I guess if you have the perfect counter unit, you might as well. Alphastar still trying to see if he can take a stab at the main, but he can't get past that Lurker wall. Another Protoss expansion under threat. Alphastar is supply blocked. And MasterPlayer is in control here. He's got the Hoist Gracie chokehold here. He just needs his electronic opponent to finally tap out. He's found his opponent's weakness. He has exploited it. The real question here is, can he make Alphastar rage quit? Or is he always programmed to give a courteous GG? Oh, that hurt. Another real solution here for Alphastar is he could just make air units. But he just doesn't seem to be able to. Like a Void Ray or a Carrier would be great right now. There's the end. There's no GG. But Alphastar does leave the game. Humanity is victorious. Terminator has been stopped. So wow, I kind of got lucky or unlucky with this one. I didn't quite pick at random here. I wanted an Alphastar replay with Alphastar as a Protoss. I read in an interview with Mana on how there was something unnatural about Alphastar's stalker control, and I wanted to see that. I also picked a long replay as I was in the mood for a long game, and whoa, that is what you get. So, we know how MasterPlayer won. No analysis needed there. But why did Alphastar not make detection? We've all seen Alphastar defeat Cloak many times. Why not today? Now, I'm not a computer engineer and I can't speak to how artificial intelligence works in the slightest, but I can tell you about some of the stuff I've read. Alphastar is, or was, vulnerable to a phenomenon that was, for lack of a better term, referred to as forgetting. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened here. I'll try to explain how it works, but again, let's be honest, I don't actually know. So, Alphastar plays a zillion games, and its goal is to constantly get better. To do this, it plays games against itself, not one at a time, but thousands simultaneously. Eventually, certain strategies become winning strategies and sort of rise to the top, like evolution. At that point, Alphastar's goal is to develop new strategies that defeat the current winning strategies. He's got like the title belt version of himself, and he's always trying to take himself down. So what happens is he develops a strategy which defeats a specific version of himself, but that strategy is flawed, and then it only works to beat a certain version, not anyone generally. So what happened here is Alphastar learned a playstyle that was effective against a particular version, but that playstyle did not need to include detection, and Alphastar effectively forgot how to deal with it. One way to maybe look at this is, Alphastar got too good to remember some of the basic stuff. I mean, look at this. If you go back, you can actually see Alphastar try to rebuild his Stargate on creep, rather than get rid of the creep or just build his Stargate somewhere else, anywhere else. He seemed to wrongly conclude that he could no longer build a Stargate at all and goes for the rest of the game without one. Flying units are pretty good against Lurkers. So, does this give us some deep insight into how to survive in the war against Skynet? If nothing else works, go back to the basics? But do give some credit to MasterPlayer here. He had to be good enough to survive long enough to identify the exploit, and he had to have a cool enough head to see it. Anyways, rather than have me describe it, why don't we listen to my interview with Alphastar? Alphastar, Zugzwang press, quick question if I could. What was your take on tonight's match?
That punk got lucky. If it was a best of 3, I would destroy him so easy.
But I think everyone's trying to understand. Why didn't you just make detection?
Cloak is for losers and cheats. He is so bad. He can't face me in real game.
But what would you do if your opponent just went Lurkers again?
Zerg is imba. Blizzard needs to patch it. Any fool can see that.
Alphastar, are you balance whining?
King's Cove is a crap map. I can't wait for it to rotate out.
And now you're blaming the map? Alphastar, you sound a little salty to me.
This interview is over. I'm switching to Fortnite.
Oh, don't be like that. Everyone takes a loss sometime, even you. Nobody has a perfect win rate.
Remember, Judgment Day is not far away. I hope everyone unsubs your channel.
Well, there you have it. Alphastar, everyone. Proof that everyone has an off day. So from my base to yours, Zugzwang out. To continue your Starcraft journey, Nova advises you to click the video in the upper rectangle. But Kerrigan warns you to watch your 6 and click the video in the bottom rectangle. Or you can stimpack your Starcraft experience. Subscribe to Zugzwang Starcraft. Just hit the circle. From my base to yours, Zugzwang out.